The Walt Disney World Resort in Central Florida is the most popular theme park destination in the world. Originally opening in 1971, the resort has grown to include dozens of hotels, 2 water parks, and most famously, 4 full-size theme parks. And although Walt didn't exactly intend to fill his parks with major roller coasters, a handful have been installed over the years and they've been smash hits with the public. As of 2024, Disney World has 9 different roller coasters across their 4 major parks, and I'm here today to rank them all from worst to best. Welcome to CLT Coasters. My name is Josh, and this is my ranking of the roller coasters of Walt Disney World. We start at number 9 with by far the smallest coaster on the list, the Barnstormer at Magic Kingdom. This is a Vekoma Jr. coaster themed to Goofy, who's performing aerial acrobatics in a stunt plane. Layout-wise, it's very similar to other coasters of the same model, like the newly rethemed Troller Coaster up at Universal Studios Florida. It's perfectly suitable for kids, but unfortunately it's not very comfortable for the adults. The seats are pretty cramped and are not only unpadded, but they're also ridged, so they can kinda hurt your back. But otherwise, this is a perfectly inoffensive kiddie coaster with some cute theming, and it's a great first stepping stone for budding thrill seekers. Just a few hundred feet away is our number 8 coaster, also at Magic Kingdom, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. This Snow White themed family coaster debuted in 2014 as a tamer and smoother alternative to the larger mine train across the park. Also built by Vekoma, the main feature of this attraction is the rocking feature on the trains, and even though it's not very noticeable, it makes the turns a bit more exciting. It also throws in a couple decent drops for a family coaster, the largest of which is 41 feet. And then there's this nice dark ride section separating the ride's 2 halves, and it makes this super short coaster feel a little bit longer, which is appreciated. Unfortunately, it consistently gets the longest line in the whole park, so unless you feel like waiting for it, you're going to want to rope drop this or prepare to drop some cash to skip the line. Coming in at number 7 is Slinky Dog Dash at Disney's Hollywood Studios. This park desperately needed more rides suitable for kids, and they addressed this problem with the addition of Toy Story Land in 2018. The marquee attraction was this family launch coaster from Mock Rides, complete with all sorts of oversized toys and even a singing Wheezy animatronic. As far as the ride goes, it's an ideal first launch coaster for kids. Both LSM launches are very mild, only reaching a top speed of 40 miles per hour, and the layout sticks to banked turns including an upward helix, and small bunny hills, some of which actually have little pops of floater airtime. The ride is fun for all ages, and the detailed theming ensures that you always have something to look at, which is nice because this is another coaster that can have some staggering wait times. And if you enjoy taking photos like me, you'll really appreciate that Disney placed this coaster outdoors, because it looks great, plus the slinky trains are just adorable. Number 6 takes us back to Magic Kingdom for their larger mine train, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. It may be almost 45 years old, but the wildest ride in the wilderness is still going strong thanks to plenty of track work and general TLC. Built in collaboration with Aerodynamics, it winds its way in and around some striking rock work, inspired by Arizona's Monument Valley. And unlike Seven Dwarfs across the park, Big Thunder's got some bite to it. The turns will pin you to the side of the train with some surprising laterals, and many of the hills and drops deliver quick pops of airtime, especially in the back of the train. There's a lot of fun things to see along the way too, including an old mining town, geysers, and some active animals. Between its high degree of theming, dynamic layout, and ride time of over 3 minutes, this is certainly one of the best mine trains out there, and it's a must-do at the Magic Kingdom. Disney World's most intense coaster, Rock 'n' Roller Coaster at Hollywood Studios, lands at the number 5 spot on this list. This is an indoor launch coaster from Vekoma, and it was my favorite at the resort for a while, and even though it's fallen to number 5, I still really enjoy it. Themed to a mad dash to get to an Aerosmith concert, the ride kicks off with a solid LSM launch, boosting your limo from 0 to 57 miles per hour in just 2.8 seconds. This sends riders into a twisted coil of track complete with 3 inversions, a double inverting sea serpent roll with some strong forces, as well as a corkscrew over some palm tree cutouts. Cutouts like these are just about the extent of the theming on ride, but the onboard audio and iconic pre-show keep it from feeling bare bones. It would be nice if the restraints were a little more comfortable though. This has pretty hard over-the-shoulder restraints, and you can get a bit of headbanging if you're not riding defensively, but since the ride tracks pretty smoothly, it's not a big issue at all. I've always had a ball riding this thing, and I hope Disney keeps it around for years to come. At number 4 is the Magic Kingdom's legendary Space Mountain. This is the oldest coaster at the resort, dating back to 1975, but it still keeps up with Disney's newer, higher-tech projects. At its core, it's incredibly simple. Two mirror-image steel tracks that start up high and gradually wind their way down to the ground. But placing the coaster in near total darkness really elevates it to the next level, and it keeps thrill seekers coming back over and over. For coaster fans, this thing has no shortage of forces. Being built by Aero, the drops have some janky profiling, giving them shocking ejector airtime. And the plethora of turns and helixes all have some combination of positive and lateral g-forces. If I did have a complaint, the ride doesn't track that well anymore, but the seats are well padded so some roughness is forgivable. Overall, this is a really fun coaster, and even if you aren't into thrill rides, I'd still encourage you to ride Space Mountain because it's such an icon. Landing at the number 3 spot is Expedition Everest, which is currently the only roller coaster at Disney's Animal Kingdom. This is a large-scale Vekoma mine train built into a Himalayan mountain, and it's a visual spectacle that looks quite imposing from far away. The ride itself begins with some slow turns before climbing to a height of 112 feet as you make your way into Mount Everest. Suddenly, the track in front of you is revealed to have been torn up by the monstrous Yeti, who lives in the mountain. This results in the train being released backward instead, leading into my favorite part of the ride, a forceful backward helix in the dark. The train stops inside the mountain before the Yeti appears, the track switches once again, and the ride continues forward as you're sent back outside down an 80-foot drop, reaching speeds of up to 50 miles per hour. Everest finishes with some more turns, a double helix, and a close encounter with the Yeti itself before hitting the final brakes. On top of being a really good ride, Everest also has some spectacular theming, with the queue essentially being an entire Himalayan museum. This thing really is a complete package, and I'd say it was worth the $100 million price tag. Number 2 is the newest coaster at Walt Disney World, which is actually located right next to their oldest. This is Tron Light Cycle Run at Magic Kingdom. After the original was a smashing success in Shanghai, Disney decided to clone this Vekoma motorbike coaster at their flagship park, and it's a phenomenal fit. It's themed to the 2010 film Tron Legacy, complete with some stunning visuals and an amazing soundtrack that expands on the original Daft Punk soundtrack. And the actual coaster is great too. The highlight is the initial LIM launch, sending riders outside at over 59 miles per hour before speeding back inside and into the bulk of the layout. The rest of the ride consists of swooping turns and dips. These have some decent force, especially in that exposed riding position, and the directional changes even have faint pops of airtime, which are also emphasized by the motorbike seating. It's over pretty quickly, but what the ride does have is nothing short of a blast. And if you're able, try to get a night ride on this, because the lighting on the trains and the outdoor canopy looks incredible. And topping the list at number 1 is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. This is not only my favorite Disney coaster, but it's one of my favorites in the entire state of Florida, and it's easily my number 1 coaster built by Vekoma. This ride does so many things that really makes it stand out from the resort's other coasters. For starters, it's the longest indoor coaster in the world by a long shot, at a whopping 5,577 feet. It features a backward LSM launch that gets riders to speeds over 60 miles per hour, making it the fastest Disney coaster to date. Most importantly, the ride vehicles are able to spin throughout. Well, it's really more of a controlled rotation, but it makes the coaster's sea of turns and dips a lot more dynamic. And the theming truly kicks the ride experience up to 11. From randomized onboard audio that selects one of 6 80s songs to all sorts of cool screens and visual effects, as well as pre- and post-shows featuring both familiar and original characters, Cosmic Rewind more than lives up to Disney's theming standards. To sum it up, this is pretty much everything I could ever want in a Disney coaster. It'd be great if they could remove the virtual queue so I could get multiple laps in a day, because this is a coaster that I could truly ride all day long. That's all for the coasters of Walt Disney World, at least in 2024. It may be a while until another coaster shows up here, but I'm looking forward to seeing what'll be in the cards in the future. I'll be sure to update this list as the parks continue to evolve. Until then, be sure to let me know what you thought of my rankings in the comments below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and be sure to check out CLT Coasters on Instagram. The link's in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care, everybody.